Okay, good afternoon, everybody. I hope we're all doing well today. I'm Michael Bellicosa, Community Engagement Manager at the Wilton Library. Welcome to this live webinar featuring one of our great online resources for small businesses, Reference USA. I would like to thank our collaborators, SCORE of Fairfield County and Reference USA, for working so hard to quickly convert what was going to be a breakfast workshop into this live online event. And of course, we're working with SCORE to bring you more live webinars. I also want to thank our co-sponsor, the Wilton Chamber of Commerce, and our media sponsor, the Wilton Bulletin. One comment before I turn this over to SCORE. To access the Reference USA database through the Wilton Library website, you'll need to be a Wilton resident with a Wilton Library card. So folks from other towns should contact their hometown libraries for access to it. And with that, let's get started with our host from SCORE, Bud Freund.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Wilton Library and SCORE Fairfield County's live webinar on Start, Manage, and Grow Your Business with Reference USA. I'm Bud Freund, the webinar coordinator with Sue Abrams and a business mentor here at SCORE Fairfield County, and I'll be your host. Our presenter today is TJ Pridell. More on TJ in just a minute. First, a few quick facts about our chapter and SCORE. We have 320 offices nationwide and over 11,000 volunteers, and we're part of the Small Business Administration. Here in Fairfield County, there are over 130 volunteers with a wide range of industry process and subject matter expertise. We offer three primary value-added services to small business owners. Next slide, please. First, one-on-one counseling, either face-to-face, which as you know isn't happening right now, but we are also doing it by phone, email, and video, which can be accessed via the Request a Mentor link on our website or via the link on the screen. Second, we offer educational workshops and webinars and do over 150 a year. Third, we have extensive resources on our website, including a network of subject experts at your disposal. Our next Fairfield County sponsored webinar will be Friday, April 10 at 12 o'clock, and the topic is Learn How to Use Zoom in 60 Minutes with Belinda Wasser. I've worked with her before and she is wonderful. So look for specifics on that at the fairfieldcounty.score.org website. Some useful information about today's event. We have set aside time for Q&A at the end of the presentation, and if you have a question, please use the chat window at any time during the presentation. You'll find a button for it at the bottom of your screen, your Zoom screen. Our webinar will end sharply at 1 o'clock to respect your time. The session is being recorded, and the link to the recording will be available at fairfieldcounty.score.org within the next couple of days. Now, about our speaker, TJ Pridell. He is an account manager for Info Group, specializing in the library, government, and SMB division. Utilizing Info Group's business resource, Reference USA, TJ serves as a marketing consultant to the business community and an account manager to New England libraries and government agencies. He encourages the business market to apply big data in generating a healthy pipeline of prospective clientele. TJ graduated from the University of Nebraska in Omaha with a BS in marketing, and I will now turn it over to TJ. It's all yours, TJ. Unmute your mic and I will mute mine.
Can you hear me okay? Am I coming through?
Yes, you're fine.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Bud. And I want to thank you, Michael, as well for putting together this webinar. Today, I'm going to be talking a little bit about our business resource, Reference USA. So let me get out of this slide here. And can everyone see my screen okay?
Yes, thank you.
Superb. All right. So a little bit about me. My name is TJ Pridell, and I work for Info Group, which is the parent company of Reference USA. Info Group is a data compiler of business and consumer information. We originally started up in 1972 as a phone book compiler. So it was just one guy, and he collected phone books. So he wasn't a crazy person. There was a great use for that. He collected white pages, yellow pages, and government blue pages. When a business would need sales leads, he would distribute names, addresses, and phone numbers to them. Since then, we've expanded quite a bit. So now we're compiling from over thousands of sources on the business side and hundreds of sources on the consumer side, all of which is conglomerated into the Reference USA database available through the public library. So for those in the Wilton area, all you need to do is have your library card available. Go to the library website, find where they host the link to Reference USA, and when you click that link, it's going to ask you to put in your library card number, and then it's going to bring you to this page. So this database has information on every business and consumer in the United States and Canada. And then we connect businesses with identifying prospective sales leads. So a little bit about our sourcing. We do still collect the phone books. So we'll do data entry from white pages, yellow pages, and government blue pages. We'll expand to brand new business listings through Secretary of State filings. We get Better Business Bureau listings, utility connects and disconnects. So a brand new business will get heating, electricity, trash, sewage, plumbing. All that's public info, so we're able to know who the owner is, where they're located, what industry they associate with, how large they are, and then all of those data points become searchable in our database so that you can find a business or consumer most likely to buy your products and services. So the first thing I want to point out here at the very top is our Learning Center. If you ever want continued training, you can do our webinars. We've got archived videos if you're a little bit more introverted and you don't want to talk to a trainer like myself. And then you can just view slide shares and how to build a sales leads list, do market research, build a business plan, etc. If you get started and you start building a list relevant to your own interests and you have further questions, scroll down to the bottom of the page. You can always call our 1-800 line. This routes directly to one of our account managers. So you'll speak to either myself or 20 of the other account managers who work in our department. First thing I'm going to dive into is the U.S. business database here. It's where the bulk of our information is. You're going to see two primary search functions, quick search and advanced search. Search, if you're researching an individual company, this is how you're going to. So just as a general example, I'm going to look up the record for Conagra Brands out of Chicago, Illinois. Information you'll see about a company is the name of the company name, CEO or owner, where they're located. Their contact information will be on the right-hand side. If you look over here, you'll see this down arrow. What that represents is corporate linkage. That means that's the corporate site and they own entities underneath them. If you want to see their corporate tree hierarchy of who owns who, you can click this corporate tree icon and you'll be able to see the ownership details. So what the key is going to tell us is that Conagra Brands is publicly traded. These are their subsidiaries. And then every branch they own across the United States. So this is a very large company. We also specialize in private company information, publicly traded or private. You'll be able to see both. Nonprofits, government entities, you name it, we'll have it in our database. So what this is going to tell us is that Conagra Brands is a food product and manufacturer. That's the primary function. They're in Chicago. Here's how many people they have nationwide and what they're making in sales revenue across the board. All the branch level information will tell you how many people they employ at that on-site location and what they're making in sales at that location. If you open up any of these records, it'll take you to their detailed profile and that'll tell you everything that we know about an individual business. Most popular information is going to be the most simplistic. So it's going to be their address, their phone number, their website. We've inputted social media feeds so you can see the company's Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Google+, if they have one, populate here. If you notice at the top, you'll say that this record is a verified record. What that means is that our call center has reached out by phone to connect with this business and verify that the information is accurate and quality. We make over 25 million phone calls every year to verify the information in the database. We spend $25 million every single year to make sure that the information is as high quality as possible. You may have purchased sales leads in the past from a low discount supplier, and maybe you found that that information is very old and outdated and you didn't get much benefit from it. Reference USA is sort of the gold standard in terms of data quality. The Forrester Market Research Report has rated us #1 in terms of a marketing data provider, right in front of Dun & Bradstreet, if you're familiar with the Mergent Intellect resource. We supply our data to Google, Yahoo, AOL, MSN, and Bing. So if you went to a new tab and you went to Google, and I'm going to look up the Wilton Library. So that information you're used to seeing on the right-hand side, we supply that to Google. So the address, the phone number, not the reviews, so if you get any bad ones, there's nothing I can do about that, Michael. But it looks like everyone's saying nice things anyway. Nice library, very friendly staff, and a great view. Okay, whoops. So moving on, we also host job listings. We've got a partnership with Indeed.com. So if you're using Reference USA to enter the job marketplace, we'll show you who's hiring at that on-site location. We've got a separate jobs module that you can research ongoing postings. There's linkage back to the business database, so you can research that company before you go in for your interview. The industry profile is going to tell you what that company does. So these SIC codes, Standard Industrial Classification, and the NAICS codes, North American Industrial Classification System code, is going to classify a business into a specific industry. All this says, and you do not have to be an expert on these codes, ConAgra is a food product and manufacturer. NAICS are government regulated. SIC, we regulate ourselves, so they should be fairly similar. The business profile is a small blurb about the company, how they started, what products they sell, a little bit more information about them. Usually we take this straight from the company website. Google Maps is fully integrated with Reference USA, so you can see where that company is on the map. Alternatively, in our advanced search section, you can open Google Maps and draw out where you're looking for specific businesses. So you can get as granular as you need to on your geography parameters of where you're looking for beauty salons, restaurants, manufacturers, etc. The demographic section is going to tell you how many people they employ, what they make in sales, are they public, private, government owned, headquarter, branch, etc. If you're ever curious where we source our data, if you see a data point with an underlined data element, all you need to do is click on that and it'll show you our sourcing. So this is fantastic reading material right before bed. Very interesting. You can see how we model our private company's sales info. So something to keep in mind, if you're using this for research purposes, just know that some of our data elements are going to be estimated. ConAgra is publicly traded. They have to legally disclose their sales revenue information through their 10K filings and annual reports every single year. So we'll have exact figures for public companies. For private companies, we do have to estimate because they do not have to disclose their sales info. We get our estimates through the economic census, the U.S. Department of Commerce. They provide averages to us based on the industry that they associate with, how large they are in terms of employee size and where they're located geographically, how many competitors they have, etc. So we'll model it, and we'll estimate it, and you can read more about that if you're ever curious. Now, if you're using Reference USA to do outreach, to sell a product or a service, Most important thing for our sales reps are going to be the management directory. So these are the top level executives at that company. We'll provide a listing of their names, executive title, gender and ethnicity of the individual. So if you're picking up the phone and you're doing cold calling, here's a list of key decision makers at the company who are likely to listen to your sales pitch. So obviously use the titles to figure out who's the best person to talk with to share your idea. Many people will use our database for job seeking. It's actually how I started using the database. I was a job seeker 6 years ago. Been with the company for 5 years now. When I teach job seekers how to use this database, I tell them, find the HR executive at the company. For example, this would be Sharice Brock at ConAgra. Give them a call. Say, I submitted my resume and cover letter for this job. I'm looking forward to hearing a little bit more, and when should I expect a call back? I always preface it that this is a bold suggestion. I don't know if it works or not, and if you get a good experience with that, please let me know about it. Sponsored by Bing. We've got a company news section. Bing will deem a short listing of reputable news sources. So if ConAgra brand's name is mentioned in any of those news sources, their news articles will automatically publish here. The most recent publishings will show up on top. The older publishings will file down below. So you can read more about what's going on at the company through any of these news articles. Again, this is great in just staying informed. If you're making a sales call, you better know what's going on at that company as talking points. Same with finding a job. Stock data, we've got it if you need it. There's New York Stock Exchange info, Google Finance link. Simply select the link and you can see how they're doing in the stock market currently. Business expenditures, we're going to show you where that company is most likely to spend most of their money. And this is actually how I started using the database. I was a patron at own public library. About 6 years ago, I was looking for work. I had experience in account management and outside sales and business development. So what I did was I printed out a bunch of Reference USA records and I brought them into my interviews. And I said, hey, if you hire me, I'm going to target all the businesses that have high experience in what you sell, are small, privately owned businesses. Maybe you can help them reduce their costs and become a supplier for them. So I found qualified sales leads for that company, brought them into my interview, and showcased my ability to identify warmer leads for them. These are the ones that I'm going to attack. So in theory, it was a great idea. You sort of saw the light bulb go off. I did not get any of those jobs that I'm using as an example. So maybe I'm not a great exemplar of how to find a job with the database. I applied at Info Group, ironically, and I had no idea they owned Reference USA, and they ended up hiring me. So maybe I nerded out a little bit too much in this database, but I found a job that way. So funny how that worked out. UCC filings, these are uniform commercial codes. If you're an asset manager, a finance manager, a lawyer, these source filing IDs will tell you where that company has their assets. Nearby businesses are their neighbors, so businesses right next door. There's a small competitors report, so these are businesses that are in direct competition with ConAgra brands. It's in the local area, so if you're ever curious, if you own your own business, one of the great things that you can do is competitive analysis. So determine who am I competing with, get a listing so that you can size the market, get an understanding of how much market share is actually out there for you. And then you can kind of attack different geographies on a more intelligent basis. So this is a small competitor portfolio. You can do a more larger one in the advanced search section. We do have historical information dating back to 1997. There's a separate historical business module if you want to do research on a specific industry. Like I know right now is not a great time to be opening up a restaurant, but one of the examples I always give is that if you're thinking of opening a restaurant, do an address search, and then you can see the history of everyone that's leased space in that address. if you see a series of failed restaurants year after year after year, maybe that's not a great place to be opening up your restaurant. So there's a historical component, sales and employee size. You can see how that company structure has changed over time. Investors use this, get a better understanding of where that company is going. You can also do that by an industry basis and by geography. If you looked at ConAgra's historical sales, you'll see there was a steep drop off from 2003 to 2005. So we'll see the CEO, Bruce Rode, at the time, step down. Gary Rodkin takes his place in 2006. 2007, we find out what his middle name is. Okay, so that is a detailed record. That's everything we know about an individual business. Most people are going to be building a market that's relevant to their own interests, and that's what I'm going to be talking about next. Before we do that, I want to leave you, like, if you ever find your own business record or information that's just incorrect, outdated, needs updating, just know that you can click this data feedback button and you can update the information in the database. So it's not like old school Wikipedia. We're not just going to submit the information immediately and approve it. It'll go to our data quality team. They'll research the claims and they'll get the information updated. Our business database is updated weekly. We update 3 to 5 million changes in the database every single month. So we kind of rely on our user base to help us keep these records updated. We've got 350 researchers at our headquarters, but our user base really drives us to sustain quality records. Before I move to an advanced search, are there any questions that I can answer? I noticed the chat has been pinging, so I'm actually going to open that now. Does anyone have questions on the detailed record? All right, so I'm going to start here. Okay, so Edward, can you put general search, for example, business owners in Fairfield County, 10 employees or greater? Yes, and that's exactly what I'm going to be doing next. You can do exactly that. Email address. So we do collect business executive email addresses. Currently, they're not available in Reference USA. We sell them separately. So if you're ever looking to do email marketing, we do sell that. Just know that there would be a cost for that. Okay. How can you search by individual, age, and zip code? So we have a separate module called US Consumers and Lifestyles. It's actually what I'm going to show you after the biz database. And then you can search by consumer characteristics such as age, gender, religion, ethnicity, that kind of thing. Okay, so I'm going to keep this going for now. Just know if you type a question in the chat box, I will get to it in a little bit. I'm going to do an advanced search, and this is how most people use the database because they're building a target market relevant to their business interests. Everything you see on the left-hand side are all data elements you can apply to your target market. So the more things you check off, the smaller and more defined that market's going to become. So I really like that example that somebody put in there earlier, so I'm actually just going to use that. So let's say we wanted to find all businesses in Fairfield County, for starters. Under geography, these are all the selections that you can do. Earlier I mentioned you can use Google Maps to draw out parameters on a map. You can do that, so that's map-based search. You would just draw out where you want to find those businesses. Now for this example, I'm just going to click on county. So select state, and we're going to look within Fairfield. Now you don't have to do this, but every time I enter in a criteria field, I like to click update count just to get a better idea of the size of the market. So there's almost 67,000 businesses in Fairfield County. And let's say, I think that example was less than 10 employees. So if we scroll down even further, there's the business size parameters. So we're going to check mark number of employees, and we're going to click 1 to 4 and 5 to 9. And then I'm going to click update count again. So we've seen this reduced by about 20,000. So there's 50,000 businesses in Fairfield County with less than 10 employees. let's say we were going to use this for cold calling, pick up the phone and call the owners themselves. So I'm going to click on executive title and search for the owner. Let's say we're searching for CEO as well. So CEO and or owner. And I'm going to update count. So of that, there's 15,000 companies with owner or CEO contact title available within Fairfield County that employs less than 10 people. I mean, you could even go further and establish a business type. So I'm going to click on keyword. And then you can type in the type of business that you're interested in. So if you are interested in finding beauty salons, for example, maybe you're a wholesaler of beauty products and you sold directly to beauty salons. So let's click on beauty salons. So we've got 453 beauty salons employing less than 10 people in the Fairfield County area with an owner or CEO contact title available. Once you click on view results, you're going to get a listing of every single one of those beauty salons. So from here, you can use it as a sales lead list. Just know as a patron, you can download or extract this information into CSV format spreadsheet or Excel. So to the left, the company name, check mark this box, move page by page, check mark the records that you're interested in. Scroll down to the bottom, just know that you will have a download limit. So keep that in mind when you're downloading. You can download, extract this info into Excel, choose the level of detail you want to see. Okay, when it asks if you trust us, you say, yes, of course I do. So this is how you're going to open that spreadsheet. Okay, so everything you saw in that ConAgra Brands record is now available to you in a spreadsheet for all these beauty salons that I checkmarked and downloaded. So I'm going to scroll off to the right. This might be an overwhelming file. You might not need all this data. So we've got the owners, we've got their gender, we've got their address, their phone number, contact info, website, hours of operation, industries, sales revenue, etc. So maybe this is helping you for research, or maybe you're using this to do a marketing campaign. With the Reference USA database, people tend to use this for direct mail campaigns. So this spreadsheet is universally compatible with all mail merge applications. So you can upload this into mail merge, create a postcard, a flyer, a brochure, put your call to action in that postcard, link them to some sort of discount, but get them to call your business or interact with you to increase your sales revenue. This is also universally compatible with all CRM software. So if you want to do an online application, you can upload this data into Salesforce, into HubSpot. It'll automatically parse it out for you, company name, owner name, contact information, and then you can do your KPI tracking right on the CRM platform that you use. Okay. So I'm going to go back. In addition to driving sales leads, you can also do market research in the database. For example, I'm going to click heat map at the top. And then this will just show you a density report where those beauty salons are most densely located. So if you're building a business, you're doing market research, this is a great way to just understand where your competitors are or where the market opportunities are. One example I give, I had helped a pet store owner in Stamford, Connecticut expand their second location. And what we ended up doing, we did a heat map of all the pet stores in the state of Connecticut. And then we went to our consumer module and we did a heat map of all the pet owners in the state. We looked at maps, we were able to see where there's a high saturation of pet owners, but no pet stores anywhere in sight. So we pinpointed all the areas in the state where it would make sense to open up another pet store because there's a market opportunity, but no competitors anywhere in the area. So there's unique applications like that that I encourage you to just call our 1-800 line, and we can consult with you on the best way to use our database so that you can get the best benefit. If you are a student, if you're at a university, we have MLA and APA format cited for you. If you're doing a research paper, export this image into a JPEG or PNG, and then you can copy and paste this right into your research paper. Okay, so that's one of the search. I noticed we've got some more questions in here, so I'm going to field those at the moment. So what is the download limit? Every user can only download up to 250 records as a Wilton Library patron. Every single library is going to have a different download limit on the contract that they negotiated with us. Typically, it's 250 records. Keep in mind, you can do this as many times as you want. So if you've got 1,000 sales leads, you can do a download of 250 records 4 times, get the data that you need, and be on your way. Okay, so while the library is currently closed, can we use Reference USA for free in the meantime? So yes, and I probably should have walked you through the website, but all you need to do is go to the Wilton Library website or whatever library site are a part of, find where they host a link to Reference USA, and when you click that, just enter in your library card number and you can get access to our database from home or from work or wherever you are. Okay, so for email marketing, can we select by job description and have emails? So for email marketing purposes, we don't do a lot with the job postings. Like we don't do email blasts to available job opportunities for that kind of thing. But if you're wanting to do a marketing campaign to all owners, all CEOs, all marketing directors, that kind of thing, you could choose by their job title, if that's what you mean. We certainly do that. Okay, and then yes, so Michael, our librarian with Wilton, put a short description of the steps to get to the reference link in the chat box if you're. Okay, so that's a little bit of the business database. I'd like to transition over to consumer data at this point. There's a lot that you can do in our database on the business side. A couple more examples before I move on. It's like I've talked to a lot of businesses over our 1-800 line. One example, I helped a web developer find businesses that did not have a web presence. It's like we can look for only companies without a website. So that's one way that they ended up reaching out and saying, hey, I do website design. Can I build a website for you so that you can engage in e-commerce? That was a great way to establish sales leads in his line of work. With our map tool, I helped a billboard company identify businesses that were within a 0.1 mile radius from the interstate. So we established a drive route from point A to point B, and then we drew out, a radius of all businesses that were right off the interstate. They ended up reaching out to them to see if they wanted to advertise on their billboards. So a lot of different use cases. And again, you can always consult with us if you don't know the best way to use our database. All right, moving on, I'm going to go into the consumer lifestyle module. This probably gets used second most often. So if your customer base is consumers and level, them. All right, so just so everyone's aware, like my goal here is not to creep anybody out. Usually there's at least one person who leaves creeped out, and if that's you, I'm very sorry, but we'll talk a little bit about our consumer data. And again, if you have questions, please just let me know. So our sourcing for consumer information, we get purchase behaviors through open lines of credit, magazine subscriptions, internet purchase, and online retailers provide this info to us as well. We get household information through mortgage and lending through the bank. We get title and deed on the house. And then all this information, we can identify who's most likely to buy certain products. So our economists will rank each consumer on a scale from 0 to 9. If you're highly inclined to purchase products related to a certain industry, you'll fall within that 6 to 9 category. And then you end up on a marketing line. You go home, let's say you spent $500 at Home Depot. We'll have no idea what you bought, but through the credit card processor, we'll know you spent $500 at a home improvement store. So you go home at the end of the day and you get a flyer for, someone's hardware store. They've probably identified through our database or somewhere else that you have an interest in hardware or home improvement projects. All right, so I'm going to pretend that we're planning on doing a mail campaign. If you're going to deliver a direct mail piece to the household level, make sure that you bubble in one contact per household so that you're not sending 3-4 mailers to the same home. You're going to end up saving yourself hundreds, if not thousands of dollars by doing this. And then it makes you look like you know what you're doing and that you're a savvy marketer, which of course you are. So you don't even need to say that in the first place. So I'm going to establish a geography. I would like to show you this map-based search. It's available in any module. So we're going to open the map. All right, so you zoom in on an address point or a business itself. So I'm going to pretend that the Wilton Library is our business. So I'm going to zoom in on Wilton Library. And then go. Okay, so it zooms in on this, say that the Wilton Library is our business. So this is our business right here. We want to do a marketing campaign to all businesses within a 5-mile radius. So I'm going to zoom out. Now you can click define radius here, click and drag of the mouse. So I didn't zoom out far enough. So this is a 2-mile radius, 4,178 households, since we're doing one per household within that 2-mile radius. I'm going to zoom out further. Double click, delete that. You can also draw a shape. So you can draw a shape where you're looking to find consumers or households if you want to get very specific. And this is why government agencies and economic development centers will partner with us. We can get a very specific boundary selection. So if we're doing urban planning or something, they can stay within the boundaries of their service area. So I'm going to double click and delete this. Again, define a radius, click and drag. Let's say we want to do a 5-mile radius. And then I click done. So we're looking within 5 miles of our business, Wilton Library Association. I'm going to scroll down, and when I click on lifestyles, these are the purchasing behaviors that we track. So let's say that our business is a nonprofit entity and we want to do an outreach campaign to solicit funding. So we want to identify all the charitable donors. Well, one of our lifestyle interests is charitable donor. So if you check mark charitable donor, and just know all these are expandable. So you click on the plus and you can get more specific into these hobbies or interests. I'm going to click update count again. So within a 5-mile radius from our profit, there's 9,500 households highly inclined to donate to charities or nonprofits. If you donate to the Red Cross, Salvation Army, even like NPR will know you donated how much on a percentage basis of your overall household income, and whether or not that's a lot to be donating. That's how you end up on this list. You can also overlay that with home income. So if you're only interested in those who are making a higher household income, so those who are making over $250,000 in annual household income, highly inclined to donate to charities or nonprofits. View results and you'll get a listing of names, addresses, and phone numbers. So be aware, if you are going to be doing telemarketing, some people on this list may be on the do not call list. It's your responsibility to get that through the Federal Trade Commission, your SAN number, your subscription account number, so that you're legally authorized to make telemarketing phone calls. Otherwise, this is a great resource for doing mail campaigns. So again, you can check mark these records, export them into Excel, load it into MailMerge, and create your postcard that you want to send out the door. I hope nobody knows Stephen Dayton. We're just going to use his consumer record as an example. So we're gonna creep on Stephen, so you know what a consumer record looks like. All right, so we see Stephen. He's male, he's married, he's been in his house for 19 years. You'll see years in home, 19. There he is on a map. There's his household income, home value. We collect census information, but we also do get our own information as well. So again, like I was saying, on the house, mortgage and lending through the bank or some of our sourcing. Census will give us better idea too, so that's self-reported. And then these are the purchasing behaviors that we're able to establish for Stephen. So we know he's a charitable donor. We know he's got interest in home decorating and furnishing. So if your business associates with any of these interests, Stephen might show up as a primary prospect of somebody who would use your services. Again, on the email marketing front, if you want to do an email campaign to these consumers, that is something that we can do for an extra cost. Okay. Something I forgot to mention, you can create your own personal account in Reference USA. It's an email and password login. So if you use our database frequently enough, daily, weekly, monthly, whatever, it'll mark it, you the search. So once you save it, the next time you log in, you'll see that search right on the home page. You can open it up and pick up where you left off. All right, so scrolling down further, you're going to see the consumer snapshot section. These are demographic information about individuals. So age, ethnicity, are there children in the home, the gender, religion, political party, etc. Unfortunately, as a marketer, this is probably great information but since it's free and available in the library, we do have to limit what is seen. So this is all what we call sensitive information. So we're not going to show you names, addresses, and phone numbers for like people with kids in the home. So we do have to protect the privacy of these individuals, and that's not data that we're willing to show you. However, if you did want to do a little market research, I'll show you on a percentage basis in what communities are there people who are currently married or single, you know, have kids in the home, are Republican or Democrat or the Catholic faith, etc., that kind of thing. So for market research, you can use these as well. It'll just show you charts and graphs rather than names, addresses, and phone numbers. Okay, so that's our consumer module. I'm going to go to questions again. So if there's any questions about the consumer application, I'm willing to answer those at this point. Okay. Will there be a recording available for this? Actually, I'm not sure. I believe so. I'll leave that to Michael or Bud if they're recording or not. Can you search individuals for military veteran status? Great question. There is a parameter here if there's a veteran present in the home. I don't think there's active military, but there is a veteran application there. Again, we're not going to show names, addresses, and phone numbers, so that'd be research only. In the lifestyle search, can I find out what copiers and toner supplies they purchased and possibly when their agreement will expire? We can do that for businesses. It's not very specific as to when they made a purchase. It's just the expenditure reports. So if you remember in the business database, we were looking at the quantity of business expenditures they made. I think that would be print products and office supplies, would show up there. That's as close as we're going to get to what you're asking for. I know that there's like a standard length contract for office supplies in your industry. So you could look for businesses that have only been open for like 3 years. So let's say it was 3 years. Assuming that a business just started up, they're probably signing a contract pretty soon with office supplier. So look for those. That's just one way to do it. Hopefully that answers your question. Can this be used for internet marketing? So the answer is yes and no. Yes, it can. So you can use our data to do like a Google AdWords campaign if you chose to. You can't do that directly through the RefUSA platform. Infogroup is a market provider, so if you wanted to go through us to do like a cookie tracking or geofencing display ad campaign to certain individuals, you could do that for you. Otherwise, you could probably use our data and send a third-party marketing company for that purpose. That's something that we do at Intercom. Records be uploaded into G Suite. I don't have Excel. So that's okay. You can download this into CS format spreadsheet, and that's going to be the generic version of Excel. You don't need to have Excel. So you can use a generic spreadsheet if you're a Mac user or if you don't have Excel. Okay. So that is the basis of most of our information. I'm not going to go into all these modules. We just simply don't have the time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a brief overview of each individual module, those two. And if you have questions on those, please let me know. If you want me to dive further into depth modules, again, please let me know. I'm happy to do that because we do still have some time available. I'll start at the top. So Canadian business, we do have information in Canada. It's the same way as the US Business Database. You can research companies and industries in Canada. US new business are businesses that have opened in the past 2 years. So businesses that have just opened their doors, we'll show you them in this module. They just filed for license. Secretary of State will show you what license. Just know these businesses are also in the US Business Database. We just chose this module to make it easier for you to find business just opened. So it updates weekly, so you'll see businesses that opened 1 week ago up to 2 years. US Standard White Pages is fairly straightforward. If you're listed in the White Pages, you'll be listed in this module. So if you want to do a reverse name search, look for a phone number or an individual, this is an easy way to do it. There's 100+ million more people in our consumer and lifestyle module, so know that you can use that module for the same purpose of looking people up. We do have White Pages in Canada. Our historical business database is a little bit more of an advanced database. You could do research on, the life and death of Blockbuster if you wanted to see that. You could do an industry relation search. So like I was able to compare barbers, beauty salons, tanning salons in the Fairfield County area, and you can see the open and close rate. If you're opening a beauty salon, you can see the stagnation rate or the open and close rate of that industry in a certain geography. If you understand market share, it'd be a good way to identify whether or not it's a great time to be opening a business in this industry at this time. US Jobs and Internships is linked through Indeed. All the postings will be through Indeed. There's linkage back to our business database so that you can research a company before you go in for that interview. And then there are third-party links to help you build a resume, do additional aptitude testing, and that kind of thing. Our healthcare database, especially now with COVID-19 and just drawing out the US economy and kind of crashing everything, is very important. So if you need to find a local practitioner, doctor, dentist, physician, surgeon, We'll show you all the open clinics at the moment, whether or not they accept Medicare or Medicaid, if they accept brand new patients. All the information is sourced through the American Medical Association, so you can find doctors that practice a certain medicine and find out a little bit more about that practitioner. And then lastly is U.S. new movers and homeowners. So if you just moved in, we'll have a list of people who've just moved into the community. We subscribe to the National Change of Address to the post office. When you move, you fill out that new name. I moved from point A to point B. We'll know you just moved through that source. We'll use this as a marketing campaign to welcome people to the community. So somebody just moved into Wilton 3 months ago and you own the local barber. You can do an outreach campaign with postcard and say, hey, welcome to Wilton. I own the local barber shop. Come in for your 20% discount on your first haircut or whatever. That's one way of using this resources for welcoming people to the community. Okay, so that is Reference USA in a very large nutshell. At this time, I'm going to open it up. Okay, is your website www.infogroup.com? So that is our parent company website. Technically our website is referenceusa.com, but Infogroup is the company that owns Reference USA. And if you wanted to see more of our marketing options, you can go to the Infogroup website. If you do want to take advantage of some of our other opportunities like digital display advertising or email marketing campaigns, you can email us, scroll down to the bottom of our Reference website and just email reference@infogroup.com or call us. Okay, do you collect health insurance renewal dates for companies? Unfortunately, we do not. We used to show in our healthcare database what insurance each doctor would accept, but it was just too hard to keep track of. And then as for companies as a whole, which one is their provider, we just don't have a data source for that. So, but again, you can email us. It might be specialty data that we provide outside of Reference USA, and maybe we've got a broker for it. I'd have to do more research on that. Does the U.S. new movers link show recent house transactions? No, it does not. But we can show you if they're a single family household owner or if they have a multifamily dwelling. But that's as specific as it gets. And then in our, it also shows if they've got a mortgage present and what type of mortgage they have. So if you want me to go into that a little bit more, I can. Okay, great questions, guys. Yeah, these are all very relevant. Is a database available to students through university libraries outside of Connecticut? So within Connecticut, not every library has access to Reference USA. They have to choose to subscribe, and Wilton Library is certainly a subscriber of ours. Many university libraries do subscribe to us, so you just have to check with your university whether or not they have a subscription. We are across the entire United States. New Jersey, for example, has a statewide deal with us, so every single library and every single university has access to the database within the state of New Jersey. So it just depends on where you are. It's honestly, it's sort of like the geographic lottery. Whether or not your library chooses to subscribe to us or not is their choice. And then you would be the beneficiary. So you'll just have to ask your university if they subscribe or not.
TJ, there was a question earlier that I think you might have missed, but it was, are you able to tell them, everybody, say, age 64 in a particular zip code?
So, not exactly. Age is a sensitive consumer data element, and we'll only be able to show you, like on a percentage basis, or charts and graphs, how many people age 64 or older there are in specific communities. If you need that data, like I've been assisting somebody who sells life insurance to people who are 65 and older. I've been providing lists to them. It's something you'd have to pay for and sign a contract as to how you plan on using that data. From Reference USA, it's just going to show you charts and graphs, not names, addresses, and phone numbers.
TJ, that was absolutely fabulous. Thank you very much. As we're getting very close to 1 o'clock and we have some wrap-up things, Michael, if you would like to do a call out on sponsors before we do our final wrap-up, that would be great.
Sure. Well, I think this was fantastic. And TJ did a great job on it, and a lot of great questions. And I just want to thank again our partners at SCORE Fairfield County, who we work with a lot on programs all year round, and we'll be bringing you more of these kind of things. And Reference USA and TJ, and of course the Chamber of Commerce, the Wilton Chamber of Commerce, and our media sponsor, the Wilton Bulletin, for helping to publicize the event. So great job all around.
Thank you, Michael. And as a reminder, a recording of this webinar and the materials are going to be available in a couple of days at fairfieldcounty.score.org, which is our website. Our next webinar, our next Fairfield County sponsored webinar, will be Friday, April 10th at 12 o'clock, and the topic is going to be Learn to Use Zoom in 60 Minutes with Belinda Wasser presenting. Again, SCORE offers free individual counseling. TJ, if you could flip over to that final slide one more time, please, that would be great. Thank you. So please use the links that you see there on the screen or visit our website and click Request a Mentor. Also, please fill out your evaluations that will be sent after the webinar. And finally, on behalf of SCORE, I'd like to thank you all for attending today's event. And in closing, a big thank you to the Wilton Library, TJ Pridell, for presenting. Have a nice day, everyone, and please stay healthy.